All right, let's get started. Welcome everybody to the 6 p.m. City Council meeting of March 5th, 2019. Let the record reflect all council members are present, except for Councilmember Lopez, who has asked to be excused. I have asked Vice Chair Chaburka to lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
And I have asked Hazel and Millie Nadolski, who are sitting right there, to do us the honor of leading us, if you don't mind, ladies. And then say, please rise.
Please rise. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. The first item on this evening's agenda is recognitions. We're joined this evening by Andy Curry from Roads to Independence. We'll be recognizing Development Disability Awareness Month, and we've asked Councilmember Heyer to lead us through that.
Yes, thank you, Chair Nadolski. It's my pleasure to present this recognition, declaring March 2019 Developmental Disability Awareness Month in Ogden City. Whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, developmental disabilities are a group of conditions due to an impairment in physical, learning, language, or behavior areas. These conditions begin during the developmental period, may impact day-to-day functioning, and usually last throughout a person's lifetime. And whereas President Ronald Reagan first recognized March as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in 1987, to increase public awareness and of the needs and potential of Americans with developmental disabilities. And whereas parents should be aware of developmental milestones such as speech and behavior in order to detect early signs of a developmental disability in their children. This helps provide developmentally disabled children with the resources needed to have a fulfilling life. As is the case for everyone, children and adults with developmental disabilities need health care and health programs to stay well, active, and part of the community. And whereas having a developmental disability does not mean a person is not healthy or that they cannot be healthy. Being healthy means the same for everyone, which is getting and staying well in order to lead full, active lives. That includes having the tools and information to make healthy choices and knowing how to prevent illnesses. And whereas one of the most significant challenges for people with developmental disabilities in our community is integration into work and community living. Transportation, independent living, self-advocacy, and employment are needs that should be attainable for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell hereby proclaim March 2019 Developmental Disability Awareness Month in Ogden City. We encourage residents, schools, businesses, and community groups to recognize the importance of inclusion within every aspect of life for those with developmental disabilities. We appreciate the efforts of Roads to Independence and other organizations that help with those developmental and other disabilities to live full, successful lives. We have Andy from Roads to Independence here to accept the award or the recognition. But before that, I would like to make a motion that we adopt this joint proclamation declaring the month of March as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Ogden City.
Second. We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember Blair to make January Developmental Disability Awareness Month in Ogden City. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
We'll go that way, and
We'll get a picture.
Yeah, we can take a
We'll all
picture.
kind of group
If
up over
anybody else
here.
wants to join you.
who did you bring with you?
Sure. Should I do that? Shall we go down by the picture? Go down.
I don't want to drop that. You prefer that?
Too bad, Andy. You can't get away that fast.
Yeah. I tried. Well, thank you. Again, my name is Andy Curry. I'm the director at Roads to Independence. For those who don't know us, we work with people with disabilities of all ages and all groups and all types of disabilities to become independent, maintain their independence in the community, do anything from everything you can think of, assist technology. We have a huge loan bank of equipment, wheelchairs, walkers, shower benches, shower chairs. And again, anything and everything to keep people as independent as possible in the community, in their own homes. And we do a lot of services for transition, and that's where a lot of our people with developmental disabilities are today. They said that if they're not here today, then they better be at that transition fair. So it's just gaining resources and everything for them to be as independent as possible in the community after they graduate from high school and being employed, going to work, and being as integrated as much as possible. So I thank the city for recognizing Developmental Disability Awareness Month. You guys are really good about making those awareness, and we've done Employment Disability Awareness Month and things like that. So I appreciate you guys recognizing this. So thank you again, and got to thank Ben. We put him in. He took the charge and did sat in a chair for a day and trucked all the way from our center down here. So he was a real trooper on it. So that was great. That was awesome. And we're actually putting him in our newsletter this month. So, so he gets a recognition.
All right.
So thank you. And that's open to anybody. So
There you go.
if anyone wants to take that and get some awareness and just some training on that, we're happy to provide that.
When's the basketball game? John's been challenging us to this basketball game. When's that going to happen?
We have one in, in Logan this month. But we'll have to round that up. We'll get the guys. So we can do that. We can set that up.
All right.
So,
Thanks, Andy.
all right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thanks, Andy, for being here. For those that don't know, Andy's a tremendous asset, not just for us here in Ogden. I see Andy almost every day now at the Capitol. And since we got to know each other from that day at Roads to Independence, I get to know him now more often every day. But he and his team do a lot of education for folks that make important decisions. And there are a lot of lawmakers at the state level that rely on Andy and his folks to help educate them when they're making decisions. So thanks for everything you guys are doing in that regard, but doing for people that need some help. So thanks. Okay. The next item on our agenda is Women's History Month, proclamation recognizing Women's History Month in Ogden City. And we are joined this evening by Jenny Kite and other members of the Junior League of Ogden. There's Jenny. We'll bring you up in a moment. But we've asked Marcia to lead us through this one today. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm honored. I got a text message from Chair Nadolski that asking me if I wanted to read the Women's History Month proclamation, and I wondered if that was a kidding on my gender and my age, but he just said no. So thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm honored to do so. So this is a joint proclamation declaring March 2019 Women's History Month in Ogden City. Whereas Ogden owes much of its success and growth to the contributions of women. Accounting for half of the city's population, their influence has been invaluable. Women have enriched our community through our service, hard work, and dedication. And whereas in 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring 1 week in March National Women's History Week. Never mind the other 51 weeks. 6 years later, Congress extended the week to a full month of celebration. Each year, the president issues a proclamation declaring the entire month of March Women's History Month. And whereas the success of our community is built upon the hard work of men and women, all too often the contributions of women go unnoticed. Women's History Month honors these women and recognizes their contributions to history, society, and culture. And whereas the National Women's History Alliance's 2019 theme for Women's History Month, Visionary Women, Champions of Peace and Nonviolence, honors women who have used nonviolence as a means to change society. We honor these women for what they have done for our community. Their positive impact has helped shape Ogden into the city it is today. And whereas we commemorate all the wonderful women of Ogden, their lasting impact and influence will forever be a staple in our community. Now for the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell hereby proclaim March 2019 Women's History Month in Ogden City. We express our sincere appreciation for the great women of our community. We recognize the efforts of the Junior League of Ogden and all the others within our community who make Ogden a great place to live. With that, I make a motion that we adopt this proclamation.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilmember White, seconded by Councilmember Chiburga, to adopt this proclamation. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This passes.
And with that,
If you're in JLo or about to be in the junior JLo,
Jenny,
come on up.
Any relation?
and perhaps all the women in the
Let's do a picture real quick and then we'll have See how my wife's also looking? Yeah, she is.
There was a reason why President Carter was one of my favorites. Now I know why.
Now you know why.
Amaze us.
All right, here we go.
No pressure.
Hello, I'm Jenny Kite, president of the Junior League of Ogden. We are a women-led nonprofit committed to developing the potential of women, improving our community, and developing and promoting volunteerism through effective action of trained volunteers. Our members have went on to be business owners, leaders of nonprofits, and even city councilwomen because of the training and support they had in the league. Ogden's identity has been shaped by these leaders and the countless women in our community that have inspired and took action on what matters most. Thank you, Ogden City Council, for seeing the value in our organization and our community efforts, and for recognizing the impact of those women who before us lent their voices and hard work to improve the community. The stories we tell deepen our understanding of women's contributions in the community, showing how for women have advanced and how much we value equality and the contributions of all citizens. On behalf of JLo, it is with great pride that we accept the proclamation plaque in honor of Women's History Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, could I make a quick comment? I know they all have to
Absolutely.
leave pretty soon, so I don't know if we can wait till the end.
They're
of
okay.
the
They got
meeting.
44 minutes before they start the next thing.
I just wanted to say how much I do credit Junior League of Ogden with helping me to be inspired to run for city council. I know several years ago, Kim and I went to a Real Women's Run event all the way down in southern Utah. And at that time, I never thought of running for office of any kind. But during that conference, I really learned or was understanding better how it really is just real women that run for these kinds of things. And that's kind of the message, is that you don't have to, live up to this qualifications or these things that you might think you need. I think that evidence shows, right, that women will only apply for jobs if they're 100% qualified or more, right? They get extra education, extra qualifications for everything because they don't think that they're qualified, whereas men will often apply or run for things when they're only 60% qualified. So I think that that's the message. I just really appreciate Junior League helping me to understand, but also the connection with other women in the community is also really valuable too. Thank you.
Great comments. Thanks.
No applause. Thank you.
Chair Nadolski, if I could just say one quick
Of course,
comment,
and we're not supposed to
because-
applause, but
I
it was
know.
so
I mean,
it was so needed. So we'll let it go.
One of the things that's always fun is to look at the history and the women and the firsts and all of that. And what's really awesome about the community that's sitting in this chamber is that there's going to be firsts for every one of you. And we're going to one day, 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, we're going to go back and say, yeah, the first was somebody sitting in this room. And I'm excited and glad that these women just push us on a daily basis. So your history is yet to be made. Millie, Hazel.
Awesome.
There you go. now they're pushing the boundaries of decorum, but no. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. The rules here is I always have to wait till last to speak, but I do have something to share. My life's been really busy, so forgive me on the timeline in my mind. But 2 weekends ago, Junior League of Ogden hosted their gala, right? And you invited Susan Matson to come and speak, Dr. Susan Matson. Mm-hmm. So for those that don't know, Dr. Susan Matson's a professor at Utah Valley University, and she's incredible. I signed up for her newsletter on email quite some time ago, and they're dense and unbelievable, the information she shares. But she is the founding director of the Utah Women and Leadership Project. And in her most recent email update, she included a link to the Utah Elected Officials Guide to Gender Parity for 2019. And so I went to that guide, and I want to share it with you this evening for a few reasons, which I'll get to here in a moment. But this guide outlines 10 recommendations for elected officials to take in 2019, which is the point of Susan Matson's work and the institution that she's running. So as I went to the 10 recommendations, the number one was to begin to establish a tone from the top about that is firmly committed to supporting and advancing women. So I thought the timing was good for us to begin that tone by doing step number 2, make a visible commitment to that tone. We're doing that on the record this evening right now, we hope. By doing something like taking the Elevate Her Challenge, which the mayor has committed to do along with the council. Or by taking the Parity Pledge and to publicize the fact that we have taken the Parity Pledge. So I have taken the Parity Pledge and I'm publicizing that this evening. And I'm doing that and hoping to encourage my peers to do the same. The individual Parity Pledge just says that you commit to speak up for, support, and celebrate the advancement of women into all corporate roles, in particular at the levels of VP and higher, including the C-suite and the board where the lack of gender parity is most acute. So I'll send that link out after the meeting, and you guys can take a peek at the 10 recommendations for elected officials and consider if you'd like to participate in the Parity Pledge. But I think now is a great time to do it, given that we've got our partners here, and it's a great time for us to memorialize it, monument it here on the record, so that hopefully we can continue to do the same. Appreciate your partnership and everything. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Oh, before you go, hang on a second. You guys have a really cool event this evening that if we wrap up here and I'm done, if I'll stop talking, we'll wrap up quicker. But
You said that.
they are having I just said what everyone else is thinking. Thanks. I know that, but they're having a speaker, Gina Welling, tonight. Is going to be very dynamic. It's at the Art Center. I'm planning to go after the meeting. I hope some of you guys would consider joining me. She has an amazing life story. I'm just going to read you a quick because it's so relevant to tonight's meeting. Gina Welling had a strong sense of purpose, living life as a double amputee, relevant to what we have celebrated as this evening. Living life as a double amputee set the stage for Welling to recognize her own strengths and value and inspire others to recognize the greatness in themselves. Born during a time when the tyranny of Pablo Escobar was sweeping her country, her home country of Colombia, Welling chose resiliency and humor to help guide her to success. Currently working as a crisis intervention social worker and inpatient psychiatric therapist, providing for underserved, vulnerable individuals, Welling uses her hard-earned life lessons to continue pushing through barriers and inspiring everyone she comes into contact with. This is a really good opportunity here from a really, really unique individual who's really dynamic, and she's really going places, and we get to have her here before she's going to be impossible to get. So thanks, you guys. Hope we'll see you there soon. Oh, Mr. Mayor, did you have anything to add? I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Having two junior league presidents in my own family, we've got a lot of history with it. So I agree with everything everybody said, and I just sat over here and nodded the whole time. Thank you.
I apologize. I miss you. I was just so afraid that, my wife was going to be mad. So it was hard to focus, and thanks, you guys. Okay. Next item on our agenda is we have an item for common consent. We'll be considering placing.
You missed one.
Sorry. We have a request to be on the agenda is the next item. We're joined by the Union Pacific Golden Spike Sesquicentennial folks. Amaze us. By the way.
I see your Golden Spike pin. Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Nathan Anderson. I represent Union Pacific Railroad, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, members of the council, Mr. Mayor, staff. Thanks again. As you are well aware, this May marks the 150th anniversary of the completion of the Golden Spike, or the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad and the driving of the Golden Spike. And what a feat. And so my point here, I guess my purpose here is twofold. One, to talk briefly about some of the events that we have planned here in Ogden and in the area, and then number two, to make a special gift to the city on behalf of Union Pacific Railroad. So very first, I'll say that on May 9th, we will have we'll have two historic steam locomotives parked at Union Station for what we hope is kickoff to an amazing Heritage Festival here in Ogden through the weekend. Those two steam it's not every day that early 20th century steam locomotives are out and about, and having them here will be a great opportunity for the enthusiast community as well as just those who enjoy Ogden and all things train to enjoy and to witness. We have. Then on May 10th at Promontory Summit, we'll have the annual reenactment and celebration that will be obviously for the 150th anniversary kicked up a little bit. We're excited for those activities here in the area. I feel really honored to be in Ogden tonight. I think the presentations that were made before me are meaningful to me on a personal level. I won't go into that, but my father was also born in Ogden. And so Ogden holds a special place in our family history as well. And Ogden holds a special place in railroad history. When 1862, President Lincoln was looking for ways to unite a divided country. And he said, I can physically unite the country with a railroad. And he said, go. And we never heard him say stop, so we just kept going. And through 7 years of really intense physical labor, 16-hour days, 20,000 people working 7 days a week, we saw the nation literally united by iron rail and wooden ties. When the spike was driven at Promontory, it changed the world. And if you've never been there, I encourage you to go and listen to the words that were said, because the reenactment that's done there incorporates historically accurate speeches that were given. They weren't long, they weren't pompous. They had a very keenly focused message about global connectivity. They talked about bringing goods from Asia and Europe to the west of the United States. I want you to think about that in terms of what that meant in 1869. Clothes, the clothing that we could wear in Utah changed. The food that was available to us changed. The things that were going on here were now available elsewhere, and tourism was invented. In 1868, if you wanted to go from New York to San Francisco, you could either go by ship around Cape Horn for a couple months, or you could take 6 months and travel by horse or wagon across the mountains and the plains and arrive in the Bay Area. On May 11th, 1869, that trip took a week to 10 days. And so you didn't have to say, if I'm going to the west, I'm going. You could say, I'm going to visit and I'm coming back. And things like national parks popped up. And the railroad had a great place in that history as well. Indeed, we don't look at the communities where we operate as stops along the way. They're integrated into the fabric of our very existence. And like us, Ogden City has an inextricable link to that transcontinental route, which is an amazing history. It's something neither of us will ever forget, nor do we want to. We grew up together in a lot of ways, the railroad and Ogden. We've changed over time and knocked heads a few times, but at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out what we're doing to grow and progress and continue to work together. It's really my honor to represent Union Pacific and to talk, to tell you just how grateful we are for the relationship we have with Ogden, for the party we're going to throw in May, and to remember when President Lincoln said go, he never said stop. And what I'd like to do at this point, if I may, is make a special presentation of a commemorative golden spike to the city of Ogden. And if I can, I'll read the inscription. It says, the Union Pacific and Central Pacific Railroads met on May 10th, 1869 at Promontory Summit, Utah. As the golden spike was driven, a telegrapher signaled the uniting of a nation, sending a 4-letter message, D-O-N-E. But it was just the beginning. Towns developed and the bond between UP and the early settlements grew. As we celebrate the 150th Golden Spike anniversary, Union Pacific is proud of these long-standing community relationships. Then you have the spike, and it says Ogden, Utah. And so on behalf of the 40,000 men and women who work for Union Pacific every day and the nearly 1,300 who work here in Utah, I say thank you, I say congratulations, and I say let's party like it's 1869. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And in addition to the golden spike and the shadow box, the sign at the back is also a commemorative production by Union Pacific that will leave with the city.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We should have you more often.
Any chance we could get a picture with the spike?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
You hold it. Just hold it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like that beard.
Well, we're having a beer garden.
Oh, I know who's doing that. I know who started that.
Answer Stokes,
Yeah.
we're having a beer garden.
My money's on you. My money's on
I'm
you.
going to come in second.
He just texted me. Yeah.
Art's actually in the contest. I don't even know that.
Great. Thank you.
Where should I leave this?
You can go with me.
Okay.
I should take it.
I'll take one.
I'll just leave it right there. That'll work.
Chair Nadolski, just a little unknown fact about myself. I'm from a UP family. My dad grew up in actually a depot in Melbeta, Nebraska. And both my grandfathers were conductors on the UP. So
I'm kidding.
little known facts.
Little known facts. There you go.
Very cool. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You told me you had to go.
Thanks.
Mr. Chair,
Yep,
I
go
think we ought to find some place to display that where
I got a place.
the pub, well, not in your home, someplace here that the public can look at it and enjoy it. Someplace in the city.
That's appropriate.
I think it is as well. Stay tuned.
Okay.
We'll figure something out, I'm sure. Thanks for your words. That was great.
You look like one of the guys in the champagne toast picture.
That's my goal.
Yeah, you just need the hat, and you're right there.
Right there. It is an impressive beard.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now on to common consent. Thank you. Consideration to set the public hearing for fiscal year 2020 to 2024 capital improvement plan.
Chair Nadolski, I would make a motion that we adopt common consent items as listed.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember White to adopt the item of common consent to set the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Before we move into public hearings, Councilmember Blair has asked to be excused for the evening. Okay, next item, vacation of streets and Business Depot Ogden. I believe we're going to see a presentation from Greg Montgomery.
Greg will be making one presentation for the public hearing for the two ordinances.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're considering two ordinances tonight, just so folks are clear. If you're here to see this item, Greg is going to cover both of them in the presentation.
Correct.
We'll do one public hearing for both items, and then we'll take action on both items individually after the public hearing.
Correct.
Thanks, Greg.
So this is a petition that the city had received from Boyer out of BDO. And there are, as mentioned, two different street vacations being considered tonight. One is a portion of 2nd Street that is between 100 West and 70 West. And the other one is 1050 or 1070, whichever you prefer, north. And this vacation also is of a right-of-way that is platted. So let me talk about the first one being the 2nd Street. This is the old 2nd Street alignment, and the majority of it had been vacated with several different plats that occurred at BDO. However, we had one section remain as a fragment of the old 2nd Street alignment. And once the new 2nd Street went in, of course, this had no longer a need to be a public street. It was actually used more as an access to the parking lot in front of the outlet stores. The consideration then is there a public need or public good for this small segment of 2nd Street where the new 2nd Street alignment had been moved to the south and now functions as a public street. As the Planning Commission looked at this, they felt that there is a good cause to vacate that street because of the realignment, and that there is not a need to keep it as a public street because it's an internal circulation system now, and that no one is adversely impacted by this street being vacated. On that specific item, the Planning Commission voted 8-0 to recommend vacating that small segment of 2nd Street.
Greg, is there any plan to do anything with that site to take it out of the looks like a street? And
Well, in fact, I think Aaron may talk a little bit about that, but the reason of vacation is because they do want to do some things there to help the parking lot function better.
yeah, that was my question. So
Yeah.
thanks.
The second item deals with 1050 or 1070 West. This is the street master plan for BDO. And a couple years ago, it was determined that that second street off of to the west side of BDO would function better as a private area to allow the developments of the warehousing on both sides and to let this street become access for truck maneuvering and truck deliveries to not only the existing warehousing, but future warehousing built to the east. In order to accomplish that, it could not be a public street. So the master plan had been amended at that time. In the lower section, that was just south of 400 North, was actually vacated. The area north of 400 North, however, was not vacated. And this picture depicts that still is in place today as a public street. However, as development is occurring in that area, as I mentioned, it's better to function as a private road. Doesn't mean by vacating it, there won't be a circulation system in there. It just means there will not be a public street and subject to some of the requirements of a public road.
So who maintains that road?
So it'll be maintained by the Boyer, the company, as a private street, as some of those other alleyways and not the public street. Again, the commission looked at this as good cause, that the relocation, the internal circulation are important factors, and again, no one is adversely impacted. And again, on this specific item, they voted 8-0 to approve that vacation. So those are the two items for your consideration regarding a BDO.
Thank you, Greg. Any questions for Mr. Montgomery? Okay, before we move to the public hearing, we'll invite the petitioner to speak if he wishes. Aaron Osted is with us. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. My name's Aaron Osted. I'm with Boyer Company and Business Depot Ogden. I think Greg pretty much stated it all. There was the question about the parking. So what we've done is extended the parking out. So that's, if you look at that, you had the parking that was across from the old 2nd Street, and it's just, the idea is to integrate all of that area into one large parking area. It allows more parking and access for both, it's not OWATC now, it's OWTC, and then also the outlet that's next door. So,
great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any questions for the petitioner? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I guess did you take over for Blake?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll see your face around a little bit more often then.
Unfortunately, yes.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Unfortunate for you guys, not for me. Thank you.
It's all in the eyes of the beholder.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Osted. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, we'll be holding a public hearing on this item. If anybody has anything they'd like to share with the council on this item, now is your time to do so.
Mr. Chair, seeing no movement, I would make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Chair, second by Councilmember White to close the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The hearing is closed. All right, we're set to take action on the two items, unless there are questions.
I will make a motion then that we adopt proposed ordinance 2019-9.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember Stevens to adopt proposed ordinance 2019-9. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Vice Chair Chaburka.
Aye.
Chair Nadolski.
Aye. That passes.
And Mr. Chair, I would also make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2019-10.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember White to adopt proposed ordinance 2019-10. This also is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Vice Chair Chaburka.
Aye.
Chair Nadolski.
Aye, that passes. Thank you for coming. It's nice to meet you.
It is good to meet you.
Look forward to seeing you more. And
Is Blake still working still, or is he gone now?
He's gone.
Oh.
His last, about 3 weeks ago was his last day.
Okay.
Wow.
So he's busy.
I know, he's got new season of life, so, yep.
Good for him.
Thank
Thank you. Okay. Public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding concerns or ideas on any topic. Does anybody wish to comment this evening? Okay. Seeing no movements, comments from the mayor.
Two things really quick. Nathan, I'm glad you stayed. We're really looking forward to this event in May as Ogden City goes, UP goes. We basically are a double helix. Our DNA wraps around each other, has since 1869, and it will well into the future. So we appreciate you being here, the investment you guys are making in making this a great and amazing celebration, and you've got great partners with us to help pull that off. So thank you for being here, and thank you for everything you guys are doing. And if you could let everybody know how much we appreciate that, would be very grateful. And then I want to just quickly point out, in the last week, I saw a lot of you at two unique events. We had both the fire and police annual awards. And as you hear some of the amazing stories that our men and women do, the accomplishments they've made, some of the things they've been able to successfully address, it's always a real humbling experience. And I want to thank you all for the support of those agencies. They all felt it. We've made some really tough choices in the last number of years to continue doing that. They were all very appreciative of all the work that's gone into that. One of the things I meant to call is that the council was so supportive that one of them even packed a satellite phone all the way into the back of the Wind Rivers to call in and cast his vote and saying, yes, this is important to me and I want my vote to be cast. And I meant to say that, forgot when I was up there, but that support is really well felt, and I think it's really unique in terms of our public safety. And so you all have our gratitude and their collective gratitude as well, and I just wanted to pass that along and again say thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Any comments from council members?
Well, I want to apologize for missing the police awards banquet last night. With the snafu and the dates, I had double booked that night and had another thing in the way. But it was certainly not my preferred place to be. It just was the place I had to go. So, but I do very much appreciate our sworn officers and sworn firefighters and those people that protect us and keep us safe. And so I really didn't have a lot of anxiety about voting for those things. I think I've got some law enforcement in my family and recognize the sacrifices that they put forward. The whole family, they deserve what we can give them. They deserve everything we can give them.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your comments at those banquets. It was very kind. Too kind to maybe, especially in light of the stories we hear on those nights. Last night again blows your mind to hear and to meet those folks and some of the things that they encounter are really amazing. One thing I'll say is that, we were joined at those events by a lot of partners in the community, private folks and agency from neighboring agencies. And I'll just share with you guys, a lot of them came to me and said, I hope you guys know how good your departments are. That we hope the council recognizes that Ogden Fire and Ogden PD set the tone in Utah. They are the standard to be. And, I don't have professional expertise to be able to compare. I only have my own personal and professional bias. That's always been my belief, but I just wanted to pass along to you guys that there are folks in those industries that feel that every bit as much as we do, and they are on the ground experiencing it, and they are absolutely qualified, unbiased opinion to be able to say such things. So I just wanted to relay that to you guys and tell you something you already know, but that it's reinforced in the law enforcement and public safety community. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer, second by Councilmember Stevens to adjourn. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Welcome to the Special Redevelopment Agency meeting of March 5th, 2019. Let the record reflect that all board members are present except for Board Member Blair and Lopez, who both asked to be excused. The first item on our agenda tonight is reports from the administration. Brandon Cooper is with us this evening to present on the Gramercy Community Reinvestment Survey Area.
Great, thank you,
Brandon.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. I hope facial hair is not a prerequisite for the presentation. I can't beat that guy.
No,
Yeah.
few can.
Very few people can. So tonight's request is for the adoption of Resolution 2019-5, which designates the Gramercy survey area. This is a one-block survey area, bounded by Quincy and Monroe, east to west, and 24th and 25th Street, north to south. This area has a particular interest to us for a couple of reasons. One, its legacy role as a commercial center for this neighborhood. If you look at the East Central neighborhood as a whole, it really is central to that area and historically has provided commercial services to that area. So that was, I think, interesting to us. Also, the fact that these old commercial uses have gone vacant over the years, most recently with Rite Aid being sold to Walgreens and then Walgreens shuttering its stores. So now we have an old commercial area that's no longer operating and is vacant, and it's such a large area of that block. So for those reasons and others, we're interested in studying this area. As you know, we have purchased some of this property over the last few years, the bulk of it. This is about a 10-acre block. I believe right now the ownership that the agency has is around 7 acres. And so we would like to study the possibility of looking at additional acquisitions and then what could be feasible in terms of what the market can bear and what's good for this neighborhood. Right now, the parcels that are on that block are providing about $2.8 million worth of valuation in total. And there's about 19 parcels. And we believe that with some assistance from the RDA, there could be a significant investment to the area that could juice up that taxable valuation to close to $50 million, and more importantly, provide some needed services and potentially some residential units for that neighborhood. So those are the things we like to study as part of this process of adopting the survey area. This is a little bit out of date, but we had a work session on 26th of February today, pending action on the survey area. And then we would start to work through the analysis, start talking to the taxing entities that would potentially participate, being the school district and the county, and then hope for plan adoption, presentation and potential adoption sometime in April or May. Any questions?
Any questions for Brandon?
Does this include eminent domain?
No. So we're not seeking the use of eminent domain. Therefore, there won't be a blight study.
And will there be a period of outreach to those residential properties that are there?
So we've had a series of open houses that took place in 2016 when this was a part of a larger study area. So we're using that data. Most of those residents and commercial business owners haven't changed. We represent the largest user on the block, and we've had individual contact with each of the property owners on that block. So we felt like we understand what their needs are, what their concerns are, and they also understand kind of what our intentions are. So as we go through the statutory process of adopting a project area plan, additional notice will be given and additional comments will be taken on the actual plan.
Is there any harm to the taxing entities, partners, such as the school district and so forth? Are they still going to receive certain funds from this project, or how does that work?
So the base value of $2.8 million is frozen, if a project area plan and budget is adopted. And so that base value is frozen. So taxing entities will always receive taxes from that base value. The taxes that are generated through additional investment will come to the agency for reinvestment in the area. And then when the area expires, then that new value becomes the new base value, and the taxing entities get revenue from that.
Okay. And when is the expiration date?
We don't know. So we're not proposing any of that now. We're just proposing to study the area, look at what could be potential in the area, look what types of investment might need subsidy, and then come back with a project area plan at a future date.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Okay. If there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Chair Nadolski, I propose that we adopt Resolution 2019-5 for the study area.
I second it.
We have a motion by Board Member White, seconded by Board Member Heyer, to adopt proposed Resolution 2019-5, authorizing the establishment of the Gramercy Community Reinvestment Survey Area. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member White?
Aye.
Board Member Heyer?
Aye.
Board Member Stevens?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chaburka?
Aye.
Chair Nadolski?
Aye. That passes. Thank you, Brandon. We look forward to hearing more. I know there's a lot more work still ahead, but appreciate the work that you've already done, and appreciate that you bring that to us.
Do we have a developer that's looking? Do we have anybody looking? Good. Yeah, good.
Okay. Next item on our agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding concerns or ideas on any topic.
Everybody looks at Angel.
Yeah. Seeing no movement, comments from our executive director.
Nothing to add at this time. Thank you.
Okay, comments from board members. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by board member White, seconded by board member Heyer to adjourn. This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thanks, folks.